Hey sneak peekers, my name is Gavin James, and if there's one thing I hate more than anything else in the world, it's talking to other men, especially strangers. There's always this awkward period when you first meet another guy, when you have to figure out as quickly as possible whether they're cool and interesting or strange and off-putting. The development of the bromance has been explored through film over and over and over again. But what about the guys who just don't quite mesh together? Andrew DeYoung's feature film debut, Friendship, starring Tim Robinson, Kate Mara, and Paul Rudd, takes this idea and runs with it, following Robinson's character, Craig Waterman, as he desperately struggles to befriend his cool new neighbor, Austin, a local weatherman portrayed by Rudd, and keep his wife, played by Mara, from leaving him for her ex-boyfriend. Unlike most conventional comedies, Friendship chooses to lean into realism, using traditionally dramatic filmmaking techniques to enhance the absurdity of DeYoung's script and Robinson's explosive style of comedy. I've seen a lot of people compare the film to a drawn-out sketch from Robinson's series, I Think You Should Leave, and obvious casting similarities aside, I see exactly where people are coming from with this. DeYoung's script feels perfectly attuned to Robinson's style of humor, honing in on and breaking specific, unspoken social rules before doubling down on them. I'd argue that if Friendship expands on anything in this comedic formula, it's through leaning even further into those dramatic moments, making Craig's outbursts seem even more outlandish. Despite this, Friendship keeps us rooting for Craig to work through his selfish, immature worldview, by offering glimpses into the simmering absurdity underneath the rest of its characters. Whether it be a man riding a panda at a mall, an Iraq war vet who yearns for Craig's wife, or a phone store clerk with an exotic, psychedelic-secreting toad. Fleeting moments throughout the film remind us that maybe not everyone has it as together as they seem. From a technical standpoint, DeYoung and his DP, Andy Rzucki, opted to shoot for a more grainy, dreamy look, as opposed to other comedies, focusing on using cinematic, practical lighting, and taking inspiration from sources like The Twilight Zone and Burning. The result becomes a deeply uncanny sensation, where the usual rhythm of build-up and release expressed through jokes doesn't quite flow, and Craig is often forced to reconcile with the discomfort of his attempts at comedic deflection. Editor Sophie Cora avoids cutting the film to accentuate every punchline, letting the genuine dramatic tension of each scene build up. All of this heightens Craig to the nth degree, genuinely making nearly every line he delivers feel like tonal whiplash, which had me and the entire theater laughing almost constantly throughout the movie. There are sections of this film that feel like a Tim Robinson bit trying to claw its way out of a Paul Thomas Anderson film, Alien Chestburster style, and I say that as a compliment. Thematically, I was surprised by how much it felt like this film had to say about performance and authenticity when it comes to forging relationships. Now, I could go on about how the film does a great job of portraying the expectations that men project onto one another, or how I felt it did a good job of satirizing how narcissistic the modern male loneliness epidemic movement comes across. However, there's one scene toward the end of the film that I think does a much better job of getting my point across. Minor spoilers ahead. When Craig finally hits his rock bottom, he embarks on a psychedelic, toad-fueled drug trip in the back room of a phone accessory store, where his trip takes him to a one-to-one recreation of a Subway restaurant. As Craig approaches the counter, he sees that the sandwich artist is a much older Austin, and he orders a sandwich before he's abruptly awoken from the trip. It's a funny bit, but it's also kind of exactly the point of the film. Craig wants Austin to build a personality for him, one that his wife and his son respect, but as he projects this ideal image of this man onto Austin, Craig fails to recognize that at the end of the day, he's the one who makes the sandwich. Okay, I may have gotten a little lost in the sandwich metaphor, but the bottom line is that Friendship stands out as a uniquely hilarious and dreadful look at the disconnect between people and what happens when we become obsessed with others before we try and recognize ourselves. That, and it's also really funny. Let us know what you thought about the film, and tell us your favorite quote in the comments below, and at Sneak Peek TV on social media and Instagram.
There's a new Marvel out that's supposed to be nuts. We should go see that.
Go see Friendship in theaters now!